Hello, and welcome to Season 3 of dfree's In the Black podcast.
Season 3.
Yes, Season 3.
We've been like Stars or
I know, right?
BET or something.
Power, going for 6
Right.
seasons. And so I'm Tamika Stembridge, Executive Director of the dfree Global Foundation. I am co-host of this podcast, and my partner here is Dr. Soaries.
Welcome to Season 3, everybody.
Yes.
Glad you joined us. I hope you enjoyed the previous podcast. If you haven't, go back and listen because they're all good. They're
Exactly.
all good. But this is In the Black, and we're happy to have with us a very special friend of mine today, and to introduce the president of Independence Realty Trust.
Yes. So we get to interact with a lot of amazing corporate people who not only enjoy the fruits of their own individual labor, but really are great partners in the dfree effort to help people be financially free. One of which is Mr. Farrell Ender, who is the president of Independence Realty Trust. We've been in partnership with IRT for I guess a few years now. We've done some work. We've hosted some events together, but I'm really excited about a new initiative that we launched last year with IRT. But Farrell, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about IRT, and thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, well, let me first thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. As Tamika said, I'm president of Independence Realty Trust. We are a multi-family real estate investment trust. And what that is that we're a public company specializing in owning and operating apartment communities, large suburban apartment communities. So for people that may not be able to invest directly into a specific apartment community, they can use the public stock markets and buy IRT shares and indirectly own a large portfolio of apartment communities. So we basically own and operate 58 apartment communities, mainly suburban, garden style, in markets such as Atlanta and Memphis and Louisville and Columbus. We have a combined roughly 16,000 apartment units in that 58 units. All of our communities have various amenities such as pools and fitness centers and tennis courts. We're based in Philadelphia, but we own and operate communities really throughout the Midwest and Southeast. You can go to our website at irtliving.com and see all the communities currently owned and potentially in your neighborhood. And we've just recently, over the past year, been spending a lot of money renovating our portfolio, so upgrading unit interiors, upgrading, as I mentioned, our clubhouses and fitness centers, and we're really excited about the partnership that we formed with dfree and look forward to continuing to grow it.
This coronavirus has prompted the federal government to do something that it's never done before. The CARES Act that has now been passed by Congress and signed by the president has a number of benefits for different types of people, including small businesses and churches and nonprofit organizations. I want you to know that my church and my nonprofit foundation have both received Coronavirus CARES Act Payroll Protection Program loans. Now, these loans, if they're used the right way, are forgivable, which means that you don't have to pay them back. The first round of funding largely went to large businesses through large banks. 2% of the companies that applied got 25% of the more than $350 billion. Now, there is another $300 billion available, and in that $300 billion, there's a section that's reserved for very small businesses. I want to encourage you to apply for the money. If you have one employee, if you have 10 employees, apply for the money. And I want to recommend you to the platform created by Sean Diddy Combs, a billionaire in his own right, who's leveraging his celebrity and his financial capacity to help the little people have access to funds we've never accessed before. So go to his website. It's ourfairshare.com. Ourfairshare.com. You and your church and your business and your nonprofit will never regret having accessed this. And I want to thank Sean Diddy Combs for investing in creating a connection between the people who need the money and the people who will lend the money. OurFairShare.com. Now, Farrell, you said some very important things, but before I step back into the investment strategy, tell our listeners what the average rent is, because what you described sounds like Ritz-Carlton.
Right.
But I want people to know that this is not a subsidized company. This is full market rate rents. But Farrell, talk about the average rents for 1 and 2 and 3 bedroom apartments.
Well, the average rent across the portfolio is $1,000, roughly $1,000 a month. So we would have 1 bedrooms ranging from $600 all the way up to $1,000, and 2 bedrooms from around $800 to $1,200, and then 3 bedrooms running from $1,200 to $1,600. But on average, across the portfolio, the monthly rent is right around $1,000.
See, now for those of us in the Northeast, that's almost like living for free.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think I'm moving soon.
It's market rate affordable housing with amenities that make you feel and look like you're living at a country club. Now let's step back for a moment, because Tamika, people always ask us about investing. Every place we go, people want to know about investing. We often recommend real estate, but people don't often have sufficient monies to invest in owning apartment buildings and houses. And I don't want our listeners to miss the point that Farrell mentioned, and that is, instead of buying a building, you can buy stock in a company that owns buildings and become a real estate investor without physically owning a single building. And I think that's important for people to understand, that the real estate investment trust industry is an opportunity for people to invest in assets that hopefully grow, but assets that are far in excess of what they could afford out of their own budgets. And
Absolutely.
That's what IRT does. Now, full disclosure, I'm on the board of Independence Realty Trust, and I take pride in that, first because it's a great company, but more importantly, every position that I hold and every resource that I can access, I try to make available to my friends and my followers and to the dfree community. And the reason I'm able to participate in the Independence Realty Trust Board of Directors is because we have a good management team. They invited me to be a part of the startup. We've been together for how long, Farrell? Since 2011, I think, right?
Yeah, it's almost 10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
And anything that I have access to of value, I try to share, and this is a part of that sharing. Now, Tamika, you and Farrell came up with a concept that we're piloting in Indianapolis. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So what's exciting about this, first of all, $1,000 average rent is incredible. I have physically visited at least one of their properties and can attest to the fact that it is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful facilities, great amenities, amazing staff. And for people that are either on the path to home ownership or just looking to maintain a reasonable renting situation that allows you the financial flexibility to do what you need to do right now, but raise a family, be independent. The properties are just amazing. But what we've discussed is, people tend to talk about ways to build credit and paying your bills on time and doing all that. But what most people don't realize is that if you pay your rent on time, in most instances, your rent payments don't count towards your credit score or your credit profile. It'll show up where you live, but in terms of what you pay every month, it doesn't count towards your overall credit score. And so what we've decided to do with our partnership, Rent with Confidence, was to create an opportunity where renters would be able to self-select to have their rent payments go towards being reported to the 3 credit bureaus. And because IRT has properties, dfree has people, we've decided to do this partnership that really allows the dfree community access to this new program that IRT launched last year for free. And so it's available to all of their tenants, where you're able to self-select that you would like to have your rent payments report back to the credit bureaus, so that you do get credit for the things that you pay every single month.
So who pays for this, Farrell?
We absorb the cost. It's $5.95 a month to our resident base.
Right.
For the dfree community, we're absorbing the monthly cost of the reporting, and we're also waiving it ranges each property, but between $100 and $150 of the upfront admin fee
Oh, really?
when you apply for a lease.
A color, a number. I'm more than my credit score. But a low score means a closed door. Higher interest rates for cars and mortgages. But change is easier than we think. With Credit Builder Plus, a simple loan can build your credit. So we can all get to where we want to be. Green. Let's get to green together.
And so, it may not seem like a lot. It may not seem earth-shattering when we talk about the grand scheme of financial freedom and financial independence. But let's be clear, a lot of our dfree audience are renters in markets where IRT has properties.
Yeah.
And so we decided last year to pilot the Rent with Confidence program in Indianapolis, where they have multiple rental facilities. And what happens is once a dfree graduate goes through the dfree process, you'll get a certificate that says you now qualify for the Rent with Confidence program. So if I'm, Jane Doe, I finished dfree, I'm looking for an apartment, that's nice, I'm not necessarily ready to buy yet, I could definitely be a great candidate for the Rent with Confidence program. I get my application fee waived at the property, once I get approved, and my monthly rent payments get reported to the credit bureau for free. So it's a way for me to build my credit profile by doing things that I already do naturally.
Okay.
And so that's the benefit of it. And so, you give yourself a year, 2 years of steady rent payments. That's a big chunk of money that gets reported, and great positive activity for people that tend to pay their rent on time.
So we have to make sure we get this word out in Indianapolis right away. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if I'm at the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church, I've gone through dfree, I'm looking for an apartment, I can get these benefits if I go to an IRT property.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What about the people that already live there, Farrell? What about the tenants that IRT already has in Indianapolis living in one of our units? How can they participate or benefit?
Well, if they sign up for the program, which we currently, like Tamika said, have in Indianapolis, and we'll be rolling it out nationwide, their rent payments from the time that they began living at one of our communities will be reported. So if they sign up for the program today and they lived there for 6 months, that 6 months of rental payment history will be reported to the credit bureaus.
I see. Because dfree has an online academy, and I think we could market the online academy to all of your existing tenants, and if they go through the program, they too will have a certificate, and there may be a way to increase participation, thus increase the likelihood of your having better tenants who pay their rent on time and tenants who get the benefit of having their rent payments contribute
Right.
to their credit score.
Right.
Without question, I think there's a lot of residents that aren't aware of the dfree program, and they can benefit from the knowledge and practices that you teach.
Absolutely. And I know we spent some time last year bringing together some of our dfree leaders in Indianapolis with IRT to visit the property. And so to the extent that we can, cross promote or let people in the community know about dfree, we're more than happy to do that. And I know the staff at the facilities were definitely interested in it. So, it's definitely mutually beneficial. I think people will benefit from it over the long term. It's something that I've been doing since I started renting. And once I realized it wasn't common knowledge, it was definitely a hot topic for me in dfree. So I just thank IRT for being willing to literally adjust their entire rental process and platform to accommodate this important financial step.
This is
So,
good.
Tamika, did I understand that correct? Are you currently using some type of reporting system on your own?
Yes. Yes. So when the last rental apartment that I had gave us the option of reporting our credit, and so that's when I learned of it. And I knew it didn't report, but I pay my other bills on time, so I wasn't as concerned about it. But even for people, like me who do, it's a great boost to your credit, the fact that you pay your rent on time. That's a huge, they consider it, quote unquote, a line of credit. Your lease is like a line of credit, and as you're paying on it, and you pay it on time, it reports positively to the 3 credit bureaus. And so it's been a great help.
It's been getting a lot of momentum. I mean, as more and more people choose to rent over home ownership to not, have a disadvantage on the credit score because of that choice.
Yep, absolutely.
So Farrell, one of the other conversations you and I had, and I haven't had a chance to talk to my team about it, is that IRT has employment opportunities nationwide, and the employment opportunities in many instances come with equity awards, they come with upward mobility potential. Talk about that, because I think in the future, while you and Tamika perfecting the art of this Rent with Purpose program, I'll be talking to some of our community leaders around the country about helping us find good, solid potential employees that need an opportunity and that could join the IRT community.
Sure. We employ close to 500 people on the ground at our communities. So you can imagine we're always looking for highly qualified people to help run these communities effectively, and that ranges from the person that greets you when they come in, the leasing agent that shows you the property and the units, to the community managers, to the service team that fixes refrigerators and HVAC units. So there's a whole gamut of positions at the property level that we're always looking for qualified people, and we're growing. So we're buying properties every day, and that that 500 people will turn into a lot more over the course of the next couple of years. So we have all our jobs posted in the career section on our website. Again, that's irtliving.com, and it's across the Midwest and Southeast, from Atlanta to Oklahoma City and everywhere in between.
Farrell, what I'm interested in knowing is more about the REIT/apartment owning community. Are there other organizations, companies, real estate investment trusts that you feel have similar values and similar models to IRT that we may want to talk to once we get some successes under our belt?
I think without question, there's probably a half a dozen similar type companies. You're much larger than us, your UDRs, your equity residentials, your AMLIs. So I would be happy to help you get in contact with them and grow what you guys are trying to do.
Where is IRT going over the next 3 to 5 years? Let our listeners know that we're talking to someone that has a bright future and a vision for growth. Give us, don't disclose any confidential information.
This is where you're going to get me into trouble. So we're listen, you've been with us from the beginning. We went from nothing to 60 properties and 16,000 units. We want to continue to grow and get as large as we can, but do it as smartly and accretively as we can. And we like going into these markets like Tampa and Columbus, and we're not going to be in New York or LA or San Fran. We really like to focus on secondary markets that have really good, sound fundamentals, and we go in and we find the best neighborhoods, and we institutionally run our communities. And to your point, we like to think we provide people with really high-end amenities and a very good, clean home for a very reasonable price.
I'm thrilled to be associated with you, proud. I talk about IRT everywhere I go, and one of our soon to become advisory board members, who is a very well-positioned person in the entertainment industry, read my bio and saw that I'm on the board of IRT, bought some stock a few years ago, and suffice it to say, she is very happy.
Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here looking at my portfolio now like, that's a reasonable price, and it looks like it's doing well. So.
Very happy. So listen, Farrell, thank you so much. Say hi to the gang. The dfree community embraces you as family. We'll be inviting you to more of our events. But thank you so much for participating. Thanks for working with Tamika and the team on this pilot in Indianapolis, and we look forward to spreading the joy and the wealth.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.